Do you get discounted tickets? What was training like? Is the money good? So what's the weirdest thing you've seen on a flight? Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a Q&A based on my job as a flight attendant. I put out on my Instagram the other day just to see if you guys would be interested in me doing this kind of video, and it seems like you were, so that's why I'm doing this video today. I also get quite a lot of questions from family, friends, and people in general who know what I do, so that's why I thought I would put it all into one video for you. So I hope you find this video interesting, and I also hope you enjoy. So let's get into it. So I've got all of the questions and some notes on my laptop down here, so I'm really sorry if I do keep looking down during the video. So the first question is the money good? It is. I think it's good and it works for my lifestyle because I live at home with my mum still. What I've seen a lot of cabin crew do is they tend to live together and near a base. So my base is at London Heathrow, and because it's quite an expensive area, if crew do that and live together in multiple groups, it makes it cheaper. So that's what I've seen a lot of. However, I'm such a homebird, I don't want to leave home, so I'm quite happy. Yeah, for now I'm staying here and the money works for me. Do you get discounted tickets? So we do, and I know a lot of people are interested in this question, and I know that's why it was asked. However, it's not something I can just dish out to as many people as I like, and I wouldn't want to take advantage of that perk anyway. I don't think I have used it to my full advantage, to be honest, because the only time I have probably used it is for mine and my boyfriend's holiday to Mallorca in March, and we got majorly discounted tickets. It was insane. One good thing with this perk is you can actually bring a family member or a friend with you on one of your trips. So all you have to do is just pay for them to come on the flight to your destination you're going to, and then also the flight back. So just to make sure they're on both of the flights that you're working. I also think it's nice for your family and friends to be able to see what you do every day. The only risk with that is, and I think that's why I haven't done it because I'm so cautious about it, is that you have to book these tickets very last minute because they're a very low priority, and of course they come below the passengers. So for instance, if going there, they manage to get on the flight, but then coming home the flight's completely full, your family member or friend won't get on the flight home with you, so they'll be stuck there without accommodation. That just worries me, and I wouldn't want to put my family or friend at that risk unless I know 100% sure that both flights have a good amount of seats. Most flights I've worked are normally full, or they fill up on the last day. So yeah, it's a risky one, but one day I'll do it, and I'm hoping I'll be able to bring my boyfriend with me soon. So question number 3, do you still enjoy flying? I still absolutely love my job, and I've never really treated my job as a job. The only thing I will say is if you are looking to apply for cabin crew or as a flight attendant, it's important to be patient because it takes a good few months, I would say up to 6 months, for you to start enjoying the job, because then you start knowing what you're doing, becoming confident, and it's just so different, and it's out of a lot of people's comfort zones to start with. Most people complete their first few flights and either love it or hate it, and I'll be totally honest with you, I didn't like my first few flights, and my first week was a nightmare. It was so tiring, and I just thought I've made the wrong decision totally. But then I gave it time and then started doing more long haul, because I started off doing so much short haul, that's why it was so tiring. Started doing long haul and then I started loving it, and then everything just started to fall into place. You start getting your own routine and everything starts becoming normal for you. So yeah, definitely give it time, and that's the one big bit of advice I would give, is be patient. Question number 4, do you prefer long haul or short haul flights? It depends really. Some days I go into work and I think, yeah, I'm up for this short haul flight. It's going to be over within 2 hours at least, and then you get to go and visit places that you wouldn't necessarily visit on holiday. On the other hand, when you do short haul, you don't tend to do just one short haul flight a day. You can do up to 4. So for instance, just doubling back, and it easily turns into a 12-hour day, and that's what makes it tiring. Going up and down is such a strain on your body that people just don't understand it until you do it. The one thing with short haul as well is if you're doing a 3-day tour around Europe, so you could be going to, for instance, Brussels, back to London, staying over in Germany, and then going back to London the next day, and then going somewhere else to stay, and then going back to London. And those kind of trips do earn you a good amount of money. So sometimes I'm just well up for a short haul tour and I absolutely love them, but they are tiring and sometimes more tiring than long haul flights. On the other hand, as I said, I live quite far away from my airport at London Heathrow, so driving down there for a long haul flight is more worth the journey for me than doing just a there and back short haul. It's nice as well because there's more of a variety of cabins to work in, so you can do economy, you can do business, you can do economy plus. It's also very different because I do American most of the time. It's almost like a home away from home for me, and to know you can go back to these places multiple times if you want to do something else that you haven't done on a previous trip. It is nice. However, the biggest problem for me with long haul is the jet lag. I mean, we're not in the countries long enough to be fully into that time zone. It's more so like the lack of sleep and then having to do a night flight on the way home. Yeah, we get a little nap on our break. However, it just totally ruins our night routine for the way home. So it's tiring and it's very tough. But the jet lag is the biggest problem for me. Out of the two, I would definitely say that long haul is probably my favourite. So what's your most favourite place you have visited so far? So my absolute all-time favourite place that I've visited is San Diego in California. It's just such a nice chilled city with such a balance between city life, beaches, parks, and everyone there is so nice and so friendly. The weather is beautiful all year round. In the winter it does get slightly colder obviously, but it's still in its 20s. And I've been there now 3 times and there's still things that I can do there that I haven't done on my previous visits. So that's one of the places that I actually want to bring my partner with me on that trip. And because it's quite a popular trip for people to bring family and friends on, that's another reason why I'm like, don't I? I think what's also nice about San Diego is there's such a variety of food, and because it's so close to the border of Mexico, I absolutely love Mexican food and their food is to die for. For breakfast in San Diego, I love going to the Broken Yolk Cafe, as it's close to the hotel we stay in, and the food is so good and for such a good price. And you can either go for a full fatty American breakfast with thousands of calories in, or you can go for a healthier option such as like avocado on toast, which is what I normally do. It's strange because I don't think I would have ever have gone to San Diego if it wasn't for my job, and I'm so grateful that I've had the chance to go there. So what's the weirdest thing you've seen on a flight? I think the weirdest thing I've seen on a flight is, it sounds gross, but in business class once, it was coming towards the end of the flight and we have to do regular toilet checks just to make sure everything's okay, nothing's been tampered with for obvious safety reasons. And I checked inside the toilet bowl and it was absolutely backed up with It was absolutely awful. You think that someone wouldn't ever leave a toilet in that state. I mean, I personally wouldn't, but some people in this world do. And that's probably the weirdest thing I've seen. I think the other weird thing in general that I have seen on flights, and I don't get why people do it, is why they walk around the plane barefoot. People don't know what has been on that floor. I know, but people don't, and it's absolutely vile, and especially people who go into the toilets barefoot. What on earth are you doing? Question number 7. Does your airline pay for your hotel and food? So my airline pays for my hotel. However, we have to pay for our own food and also any other activities you want to do when we're away. A lot of the time, cabin crew just tend to eat salty plain food or takeaways just to make things as cheap as possible. And it's so easy to put on weight in this job. People think it's so glamorous and we have to keep a certain weight. And it is so hard to, because the food's just there and we just tend to snack on anything that's left over. The one thing that's bad for me is cheese. Like, we do little blocks of cheese, and in business we do cheese boards. so difficult. What a lot of the hotels do is they offer us free gym access, so I try and visit the gym as much as possible to avoid gaining weight and staying at a comfortable weight. And I also try to bring my own food on the plane, so again, to avoid eating saltier foods and more unhealthy options. So I try and bring a salad, for instance, which is fine to take through security. As long as we eat them before we arrive at our destination, that's fine. What was training like? I almost get PTSD from this question. It was the most stressful 6 weeks of my life. You cover absolutely everything you need to be prepared for any kind of scenario. So safety wise, we do how to evacuate out of a plane onto water and onto land. Firefighting, how to react in a decompression, so that's when there's a hole in the plane and the cabin is pressurized mid-flight, i.e. oxygen mask drop. Medical scenarios, so this does include childbirth, which a lot of people have asked me that question. The other thing that I get really scared about every time I go to work is having to deal with a death on board, as it was the one thing that I think really shook me up in training, is the fact that this can happen, and we are prepared for it. We have defibrillators on board, so we have the equipment that we need. However, when we were told that the likeliness of someone surviving a cardiac arrest, for instance, is very low, that does scare me, and I hope I never have to deal with it, but I am prepared for that scenario. Yeah? No, not really, but okay. We are also trained in how to restrain naughty passengers. So that's only if people become completely out of control that we have no choice. And final thing we are trained on, obviously, is service. So how to deliver a service in sync with our other cabin crew members that we are working with, so everything flows nicely. And also so we are all prepared for our first short haul and long haul flight. In training, it is a lot to take in, and you have to be dedicated and prepared to give up a lot of your time to revise and study for your exams. However, once you reach your graduation day, it is so rewarding when you know that you've passed and that you have your first flight scheduled in, and that's when it all becomes real. How many flights do you do a month? Looking at my schedules previously, I do on average about 3 to 4 long haul a month, with the odd short haul flights here and there. One of those long haul flights can be replaced with, for example, a short haul tour around Europe, as I mentioned earlier. Our schedules are set up in a particular way, so we do regularly fly on the aircrafts that we are trained on, as we have to keep our aircraft licenses up to date. If you don't fly an aircraft that you're trained on within that 3-month period, you then have to go back to training for a refresher to keep your aircraft license. So what is your best tips for jet lag? So when I get home from a long haul flight, I just drop all my stuff, get out my uniform, and I go straight for a nap. So I nap normally for a couple of hours. It doesn't really matter what time of the day it is. Even if it's late at night, I'll have a couple of hour nap. I'll wake up, have a good meal, go and have a shower to refresh myself, and then I'll get back into bed to have another full night's sleep. And I can actually sleep for about 12 hours straight after a long haul flight. And then we get a couple of days off after your trip to then get back into your routine again, get back into your home time zone, and then do it all over again. Also, throughout the flights, I drink as much water as possible just to keep hydrated, as that's another thing that I think can make me really tired, is when I don't drink enough, and drink enough water especially. Which aircrafts are you trained on? So for short haul, I'm trained on the Airbus 319, 320 and 321. And then my long haul planes, I am trained on the Boeing 777, Boeing 787 and the Boeing 747. My favourite aircraft out of all of those is the queen of the skies, the 747. She's just a beauty. Do you work with the same crew all the time? Now the answer to that is no. I've only worked with a select few crew more than once, and it rarely happens. If your crew will totally understand the awkward question of,
have I flown with you before?
You recognise people's faces, but you don't recognise names. I guess the good thing about working with different people all the time is that you get to know different people and make lots of friends as well, which is nice. So, did you ever suffer with travel sickness? And the answer to that is yes. And I've always suffered with travel sickness in general, so cars, coaches. So I was really worried about what I was going to be like. And because I'd never really flown on a plane before, I have a couple of times, but I didn't really know what to expect. So I remember specifically, we were on our final approach after doing 1 out and 1 back to Santorini, and it was a really, really windy evening back into Heathrow. So on our final approach, and I could just see the ground getting closer, and I had to have my hand over my mouth. I was trying to focus so hard, and I knew as soon as we landed I would be okay. It almost happened, but I haven't physically been sick from flying before. But yeah, I've managed to get through it, and now I'm absolutely fine. Throw any kind of turbulence at me, I find it funny now. So speaking of turbulence, what is the worst turbulence you've ever experienced? So the worst turbulence I've experienced was actually on a long haul flight, and we were coming back from California. We were about 2 hours from landing. We were getting ready to serve breakfast in the morning, and we'd had everything out, all the trolleys were set up, the drinks, juices, tea, coffee was all out. And normally with turbulence, the pilots will often call every crew member on the aircraft, or call the cabin manager on the aircraft to let everyone know that it's coming so we can be prepared. Sometimes we just don't know it's coming. So with this instance, we didn't know. So yeah, we had all of our trolleys out, everything ready to go. We were about to go and start serving passengers, and then all of a sudden, all of the crew were on the ceiling and all of our trolleys had toppled over. Juice, tea, coffee was everywhere. And it was almost to the point where we were like, we just cannot serve because it's impossible. We had to stay on our jump seats for so long, but we managed to finally serve everyone breakfast. But that was the worst experience in terms of turbulence that I have gone through. What is your favourite cabin to work in on long haul? Economy I know inside out, I know the service inside out. I can just chat easily to passengers without the worry of my etiquette. Business is nice because you have less passengers to serve and you are able to give them more of a personal experience. So I think because of that, I do like working in our business cabin. Have you had any really bad experiences? So I've been lucky that I haven't, as I said, had any major medicals or any big issues on flights. I think the worst experience that I've had with a passenger is I got clicked at in the face to take her tray away, which I stayed calm, but I did say to her, you know, don't do that to me because it's rude. And that's where I think in this job you have to be understanding that different cultures communicate in different ways. However, I think since then, and having to, you know, be more firm with, especially with safety matters on the flights, you have to tell people as it is. And I think that massively has improved my confidence, both in work and out of work. You have to be prepared for anything that could happen on flights in terms of safety, and you have to know how to control yourself when talking to passengers. The final question that I got is, do you get lonely? Unfortunately, this is a kind of job where you can get really lonely. There have even been times where I've been really, really homesick, and I could really do with just getting on the plane and going home in that very moment. This is where you need to put yourself out there, organise things with other crew, get to know other crew members, exchange numbers. This job's nice because you can make friends, see them at the airport. They're going for a different flight, you're going for another flight, and you can just, it's nice to be able to see familiar faces at work, and it just makes the job more enjoyable. The other good thing as well is if you like your own company, it's okay because you can do things on your own. Like I've done, I've gone and done things that other crew haven't necessarily want to do or have done before on other trips. And it's nice because you can also build your independent skills, as I really struggled with my own company before this job and I hated my own company, but now I love it. Unfortunately, where this job is seen as a glamorous job, you have such high expectations and you're away from home so much and your family and friends, it's so easily to become very depressed and develop anxiety. And there have been times where I have struggled, and I will say that. and I think it's something that I wish I knew before I applied for the job. That's why I'm stressing it's so important to socialise, put yourself out there, so then you're not forcing yourself into a situation where you're just sat in your hotel room, upset, depressed, working yourself up, just waiting to go home. Even if you aren't feeling like going to socialise or doing things, just go and then talk to the crew while you're there about how you're feeling, as there's nothing better than talking to people who understand what you're going through. And I think talking does massively help immensely with this job. So that's all the questions that I was asked about my job as a flight attendant. If you have any other questions that you'd like to know about my job that I haven't covered in this video, please leave them in the comments below and I will answer as many as I can. I was also thinking of doing another video based on what to expect if you're looking to apply as cabin crew or flight attendant. So that could be the interview process or the job itself. Let me know if you'd be interested in that in the comments. Finally, please leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye!